Chapter 6. A is for acceptance. I accept what I cannot control. When I think about my journey into happiness, acceptance always comes to mind as one of the first things to do. This is because if you cannot accept things around you exactly as they are, you tend to live inside a vicious circle of repeating your past. So acceptance is a crucial first step you must take to begin on your path to happiness. Acceptance is actually one of the most effective ways in which you can relax and create a space in your mind for feeling good. Think of acceptance like creating a blank canvas in your mind for you to start controlling what you put in it. Instead of allowing it to control you, instead of going over your past problems, mistakes or worries, you simply close the door on the past and accept it 100%. This sounds very simple in theory, but it does take a continued effort on your part. As you develop new pasts, you can become entrapped again. So keeping yourself aware of your level of acceptance in each moment is key. Acceptance is about letting go of the things that you can't control. I think a great word that describes acceptance is faith. It is having the faith that no matter what is going on right now in your life, things will always turn in the right direction in the end. When the mind is too busy and you still have judgments and labels floating around in there, it is very difficult to accept what is going on around you. When your goal is to build happiness into your life, you need to release the old negative patterns that have been previously developed. Remember the canvas illustration? If you want to paint a new picture, you can't begin with a pre-painted canvas. You have to start with a blank one. Acceptance is just like starting with a blank canvas again. It begins a whole new space in your mind for you to fill in the way that you desire to. I remember going through this experience after leaving the company I'd been working with for 10 years. I got to a place where I had changed so much that the things that were important to me weren't any longer. The things that I had wanted before no longer represented me. It took courage, but in order to move on I had to accept that even though I had been in the company for a long time and I felt safe there, I wanted something new. To do that, I had to erase my past and find a new level of acceptance. This changed my life. The mind is much like the body. You have to be careful how you feed it, and acceptance is realizing that you have fed your mind, and what you have fed it so far has got it this far, and that's okay. But now you have to feed it differently if you want things to change. Acceptance is important if you want to move forward in any situation. Take a diet, for example. I love to use diets as examples for this subject because I believe that there are great parallels in the way the mind and body work. If you feed your mind negativity, your mind becomes ill. If you feed your body unhealthy food, your body becomes ill. The mind and the body both need to be well fed in order to thrive, and sometimes it takes effort to feed them well. But it is essential if you want to have a healthy mind and a healthy body that you do so. Acceptance in a diet situation is accepting that you are overweight and being okay with it. Saying to yourself, yes, I am overweight, but I'm not in control of what I ate yesterday or 2 years ago that got me to this place. All I am in control of is what I eat today. This kind of self-talk will help you to move forward and continue with your desired diet. If you can't be okay with your past decisions, you will hold yourself back. What so many people do to themselves when it comes to weight is say, I'm sick of being overweight. Why did I do that? Why did I eat so terribly? Oh, I'm so unhappy with my weight. I wish I had exercised more. I wish I hadn't eaten so much. I'm so miserable. Ah, well, I may as well eat some chocolate. What is the point? I'm fat anyway. This is what I used to do. And this spiral of guilt and shame about the past causes more stress in your body than anything else, and it gives you a reason to quit. But you can't let it. This is why acceptance is so vital. If you just accepted that you were a little overweight and that you're taking steps daily to improve it, and that you are no longer going to worry about your weight because it won't be there in the future, you'd lose weight quickly and with much less stress and probably much less effort. This takes me back to a conversation I had with my sister a long time ago. At the time, I was really struggling to lose weight, and she was struggling to keep her skin clear. What was great about this situation was that I had very clear skin, and she was very skinny. So we both had trouble with an opposite, yet kind of equal circumstance. I asked my sister one day, "Do you worry about your skin?" And she said, "Yes." Then I asked her if she worried about her weight, and her reply was, "Why would I worry about my weight?" This intrigued me greatly, and I asked her to pose the questions back to me in return, but the other way around. She asked me if I worried about my skin. "Why would I worry about my skin?" I said. "It's perfect." "What about your weight?" she asked. I worried about that all the time. What I noticed is that what each of us had not accepted in our lives was actually the thing that we had the problem with. What I began to realize, and what became very clear in this situation with my sister and I, was that acceptance itself, by not worrying about the problem, would probably help me to lose weight and her to get clear skin. And let me tell you that it did work later on for both of us. So this is my approach to happiness, using acceptance. Okay, so I could have been happier a year ago. I could have been happier when I was going through this thing and that thing. I could have been happier as a child, and I enjoyed that far more than I did. But who cares? The past is done. Acceptance is knowing that you are not in control of everything, and that is okay. What's done is done. The past is not worth going over. Just accept what has been and gone and erase it from your mind. For only when you have done that can you truly move on to happiness. Here's a few tips for acceptance. Do not go over the past and feel guilty for not having done things previously. Do not worry about where you are right now, whether it be a health, relationship, or financial situation. Realize that it is temporary. Be okay with life exactly where it is. Don't fight life. And finally, breathe. Allowing all situations, good or bad, to come and go and accept them will be extremely enlightening. You will find this practice to be a great part of the process once you begin to truly accept life as it is. Because no matter where you are in life or who you are in life, good and bad is always available to you. You just have a choice where you are going to look. Accepting the bad and looking for the good is the best way to achieve your happiness. Acceptance is a deep knowing that everything is meant to be and everything is always working out for you. Try to develop acceptance in everything you do, and you will find that your thoughts can transcend any situation you find yourself in. Acceptance in relationships. Accepting others as they are is key in any relationship. In order to have a healthy relationship with anyone, you need to allow them to be who they are and accept them for it. Sometimes that can be difficult. It means accepting their flaws and allowing yourself to be okay with them. The opposite of acceptance is control. If you try to control people or try to change things and don't accept them as they are, you are setting yourself up for failure every time. Controlling how people go about their lives or trying to control situations in your life provides you with much stress. It can be extremely difficult for some to let go of their control. Some people find giving up their control makes them weak, and they fear it deeply. But when you let go of your control in any situation and you simply go with the flow, so to speak, you find that the situation actually improves. try it. If you fight against a person's character in a relationship, or fight against your financial situation, or fight against your ill health, you tend to create a greater struggle for yourself, because in energy terms, what you focus upon grows. This becomes easy to see in practical terms in an argument with someone. But it also works with bullies. I remember being told by my mother once to ignore bullies at school. I was skeptical, but I did try it, and to my surprise it actually began to work. It was the ignorance that made it work. Ignorance is a form of acceptance, and in certain circumstances it can be the best thing to do. Distraction is also a form of acceptance. It stops you from focusing on the problem, and in turn you don't respond emotionally to the problem, causing it to dissolve completely. This is the magic of acceptance. Think of it in terms of an argument between two people. If person A begins to shout and person B responds by shouting back, we have an argument. But if person A begins to shout and person B remains silent and calm, the argument will eventually fizzle out to nothing. An argument needs a response in order to be an argument. So when life is shouting at you, stay quiet and let it be. Then you won't have an argument with life, and life will eventually no longer have an argument with you. This is how acceptance works. Acceptance just says, okay. It lets situations come and go and allows bad things to just fizzle out. Acceptance doesn't respond to bad experiences with bad energy or to good experiences with good energy. Acceptance allows it all and sees a greater purpose to every experience. Acceptance also benefits situations in where there is pent-up energy. For example, if you have had an argument with someone and you think about the subject, you begin to bring the negative energy into future experiences. You may have already experienced this yourself. Can you think of a time when you've had an argument with someone and then a few hours later when they spoke to you again, you could feel unresolved tension in the air? This is pent-up energy from a past experience. When we use acceptance, we release pent-up energy, and we avoid awkwardness being projected into our future. This is great in relationships because usually arguments occur over silly, meaningless things, and pent-up energy usually makes that worse. What's more, it is usually totally unnecessary. As a side note, how do you know when you have reached acceptance? How do you measure it? When you are in the fully accepting phase of life, you will have an understanding that no change, good or bad, will be able to change the way you feel. You become steady in your emotion, and it is very difficult to sway you. So you can measure acceptance by how relaxed you feel in every situation. The more relaxed you can be, regardless of what's happening around you, especially if it's unwanted things happening, tells you how accepting you are. To fully accept a situation means that you actually love life exactly as it is today. You realize that your feelings are separate from anything that could happen to you, and you just enjoy life for what it is. This is not easy at first. In fact, in many ways, I believe acceptance to be the hardest part of being happy. The reason being is that we have been taught that in order to be happy, we have to accumulate items, people, and good experiences. We've been taught to compete and compare our life experiences to others. We've been taught that this life experience is not as good as that life experience. We've been taught that it's never good enough. We've been taught not to accept things. And acceptance says, no matter if you are the janitor of a company or the CEO, it is good enough. That takes a certain kind of courage to truly believe. Yet once you achieve it, acceptance is the greatest feeling of freedom that you can ever have. And this moves us nicely through to the biggest acceptance stage of all, self-acceptance.